All right, man. Peace. So, brothers, this is going to be the newest entry in the series that I started in the last batch of videos called Are Men and Women Equal? And in Volume 1, it featured Mr. Muhammad Ali, the legendary former heavyweight champion who reigned from 1964 to 1967 and from 1974 to 1978. He was asked in an interview, I believe, by Mr. David Frost, of whether he, meaning Muhammad Ali, believed that there was any merit in the burgeoning women's liberation movement. And of course, Ali looked at David Frost with that face of incredulity and comedy and went on to inform Mr. Frost on why the women's liberation movement had no merit from the foundation upward, why it was ludicrous. And he explained it to him in the simplest of terms, that even women in their essential nature, they intrinsically understand that a man is their head. That's why they tend to search out or seek out men who are superior to them physically, meaning a man who is taller than them, who they could look up to. And of course has other attributes like being a provider, someone of wisdom who can answer their questions, so on and so forth. Well, this edition right here, this entry in the series will be featuring Mr. Lavar Ball, who we all know as the controversial father figure of the Ball clan. He's constantly in the news for many of his statements. And as I've stated in previous videos, one of the main reasons why Lavar Ball is always at the epicenter of some form of controversy is because of what he represents. He's viewed as being a dinosaur from a previous age, a man who actually has the nerve to assert himself and state that unequivocally he believes that he should be the head of the household and that he should dominate all the proceedings, tell his sons what they're going to do, how they're going to do it, plot out his sons' futures, and also act as the head of his wife. That really is what lies at the crux of the media's antipathy for Lavar Ball. Remember, when they thought that he was just a jokester who was making a lot of inflammatory statements about his son and using a lot of hyperbole when it came to how well his son was going to fare in the NBA, everything was okay. But when he stood up to that chick, Christine Leahy, the toxically feminist former co-host of Colin Cowherd, that's when the mainstream sports media started to jump off of the Lavar Ball wagon. And one of the main antagonists to Lavar Ball over the last 2 years has been this brother right here, Mr. Jason Whitlock, who I've always stated has the best sports show on TV. But unfortunately for him, he has to play the political game on Fox Sports 1. So he has to show that he's going to stand with the divine feminine from time to time, even though it's very clear that he knows better. As many of these cats on television, they know better. But they always have to make sure that the corporate heads understand that they're not going to disrespect the divine feminine or the divine hermaphrodite on national television. So what we're going to see here in this interview is Lavar Ball once again make a very sensible statement that we all know about women, that being that they're very sensitive. Mr. Jason Whitlock and his partner Marcellus Wiley are going to attempt to modernize Lavar Ball, utilizing certain liberal tactics, which is unfortunate because, as I've stated about Marcellus Wiley and Jason Whitlock in a previous segment that I covered pertaining to Errol Spence, I believe it was, in the aftermath of his decimation of Mikey Garcia, Marcellus Wiley, he asked Errol Spence why he wanted to fight Manny Pacquiao. He said Manny Pacquiao is an old man. But then when the topic of Floyd Mayweather came about, and we know that Floyd Mayweather is older than Manny Pacquiao, or at least those of us who know boxing know that Floyd Mayweather is older than Manny Pacquiao, Marcellus Wiley and Jason Whitlock were asking Errol Spence if Floyd was ducking him and if Errol Spence was trying to make that fight. So sometimes our people, no matter how astute they are, subconsciously they have these meanderings where they make statements in which they show that they're under a certain level of programming. And that's why I make these videos, so that we can assess these issues from an objective point of view. But just getting back to the point of this video, Jason Whitlock and Marcellus Wiley are basically going to try to modernize Lavar Ball, i.e., quote unquote, save him. Not understanding that Lavar Ball is not a corporate Negro. And that's why I tell so many of you brothers, if you can, you should leave corporate America and leave that mental, social, psychological, and spiritual oppression that takes place in that environment. Because it starts to make you believe things that are not true. That being that men and women are equal. Men and women are not equal. There are gifts that the woman has that the man does not have, and vice versa. There are gifts that men have that women will never have. And I've stated this in the past. No one can bring your family together or keep them together like a good woman does. And in the same vein, no one can lead with the efficacy of an intelligent man who utilizes wisdom and knows what his priorities are supposed to be. So when we work together, We complement one another. That's what the man and the woman are supposed to be, complementary to one another. In this society, they promote competitiveness between the man and the woman. And one of the main ways that they do that is by promoting this concept of equality. And I'll be expounding on this in other videos, most likely. They've taken terms like equality, or a term like equality, and made it a buzzword, a veneer or a facade for mind control. Don't you know that women are equal to men? Don't you know that children are equal to adults? Don't you know that this is equal to that? And it's really just an attempt to break down the heterosexual male in Western civilization, who's largely broken down for the most part, but is starting to come out of that deep sleep. And once again, that's why I feature segments like this, so that we see little surreptitious ways in which certain people try to promote their mind control or their conditioning. And it is deleterious to everyone involved. That's why I say this is a 100% pro-truth channel to the best of my ability. It's not a pro-black channel, because many of our people have been subjected to Luciferian ideologies and they're not even aware of it in their head. So anyway, let's pay very close attention to this interaction. Of course, they're going to talk about it and I'm going to chime in.
These attacks on Luke Walton. Everybody in the NBA is watching. Are you not concerned you're damaging?
I'm not damaging nothing for Lonzo Ball.
And by the way, Lavar Ball ended up being 100% correct on Luke Walton.
The fact that he has a contract, he's doing what he loves to do. I'm stating my opinion, and don't be mad at me because I'm right. I said he lost the team last time. And now it comes full circle again. He lost it again, where they're trying to beat him up in the locker room. Look.
Well, they definitely never had any real respect for Luke Walton. He was never supposed to be the coach of a team that was led by LeBron James. LeBron James looks at someone like Luke Walton and only sees shark food. That's all he is. You know who LeBron James is? He's that badass kid in the classroom who hopes that every day when he comes to school, there's a substitute teacher sitting behind the desk so that he can raise all type of hell, wreak havoc in the classroom, and get all the attention for himself. You have to make sure that you have a strong teacher in the front of the room and send his ass to detention. Every time I see LeBron James, all I see is that mother goddess divine child energy that comes from him or off of him. A spoiled brat who was never told to shut the hell up and be quiet so that you could learn things appropriately. He was raised in an environment where he was coddled by his mother, who had no idea what the hell she was doing, and then a bevy of opportunists who could see what he was going to become. And I think that it has hurt him, and a lot of his fans do not understand this. I've stated this in previous videos about both Kobe and LeBron. They would have been way better off if they would have gone to college. They would have learned a lot more about basketball and become better players and probably better people, at least at the time that they were playing. Where they may have won, who knows? Instead of 5 championships for Kobe and 3 for LeBron, at least 3 currently, Kobe might have won 9 titles. And LeBron might have 6 or 7 right now already, had they gone to college or been raised in an environment that promoted order and structure and accountability.
Know what to do with them. And he has no loyalty to them.
Who is running this team? All right. If he lost the team, is it LeBron? Is it Magic? Who's running it?
As you can tell, nobody. The thing is going in disarray.
But what do you expect? They're led by Jeannie Buss and Linda Rambis. So that's what's going to happen. You have to have strong leadership, and they don't have it. But Adam Silver has stepped in because he knows that LeBron James, he's on his last leg, and they want to make sure that they drain every little last bit of juice out of that orange before they send LeBron James off to pasture.
All right, welcome back. Whitlock and Wiley, we're joined now by LeVar Ball.
Prophetic.
In season 4 of Ball in the Family, available now on Facebook Watch. Let's start right where we just left off. Who's running the Los Angeles Lakers? I think it's LeBron James.
Like I said, nobody knows who's running it right now.
Even still.
I mean, everybody got their opinion who they think is running it, but it's not being.
The person running it is Adam Silver. He's the one. He's the one who's operating it from way behind a series of curtains. You can't even trace it back to him. But he's the one who's running the LA Lakers right now. This LA Lakers experiment, it has to work. And I told you, brothers, this even before LeBron signed with the Lakers, that there was going to be at least one season where they put LeBron James in position to win a championship. Right now, it looks like it's going to be this season because everything is falling into place for him. Or at least this is going to be the best chance that he has. I don't think that they're going to get any better as a team from this year to next year. And LeBron is not going to get any better as a player. So once again, when you have LeBron James' agent, Rich Paul, complaining to Adam Silver about the coach, Luke Walton, what does that tell you? That tells you that LeBron James has inroads to Adam Silver because they work together to promote a lot of liberal agendas through the NBA. That being a lot of the over-obsession with the police and quote-unquote police brutality. And in exchange for that, it's LeBron's job to promote the WNBA and therefore lesbianism. Because the only reason why they have the WNBA is to promote lesbianism. It's the same reason why they're promoting the U.S. Women's National Team in soccer. But that's a whole other video for another day. That's really what that's about. That's pretty much the pinnacle of the quote-unquote divine feminine promotion, is the U.S. Women's National Team and this notion that they're being underpaid, so on and so forth.
By one person.
If LeBron James were in control of the Lakers, he and his agent, Rich Paul, a lot of people think they have a lot of influence. Are you good with that? Would that be a good thing for the Lakers?
That's the narrative that the media wants to put, that LeBron is running his agent. That's what you got to run with something.
Well, they have some influence, Lavar. They might not be running it all the way, but they have some influence. Jeannie Buss is a modern day, quote unquote, independent woman. So she does not want people telling her what to do to her face. She does want to be told what to do, but in a quote-unquote nice way. She wants men who have wisdom and knowledge to say, Jeannie, here's what we think should be done. What she doesn't want is a man getting in her face telling her, look, this is what we have to do. And you need as much help as possible. Like someone in her position, she's leading with her ego on numerous fronts. Not only because she's quote-unquote educated, but because she's trying to carry on the name and the prestige of her father, who believed that she was the one who was going to be educated and run the franchise from the business perspective. The brothers were supposed to run it from the basketball perspective. But because she got amped up by the liberal media to take her brother out of a position of affluence, now she has to do both, and she's not equipped to do either one, really. So she's trying to figure out a way to bow out gracefully without looking like she's a failure to the cause of female empowerment.
I only care about one thing: getting all my boys on the Lakers. If LeBron want all my boys, let's run. People losing this sight of, they think LeBron is ready to get up out of here. LeBron is putting something. He like me. He thinking way ahead of the game.
Of course, that's why he came to LA in the first place. LeBron was never really going to leave the Lakers unless things got so drastic and so blatantly dysfunctional that it was going to become bad for his brand. And that's why Nike and Adam Silver have combined forces to assist LeBron, because they can't let that happen. There are too many forces that have too much to lose for this LeBron James LA Laker experiment to not work. It has to work. Adam Silver needs it, Nike needs it, the Lakers need it, and Hollywood wants it. LeBron James wants to become a fully engrafted member of Hollywood, and Hollywood likes LeBron, so they try to look out for him in any way possible.
This is the only team, listen to me, this is the only team that he can invest in and say, you know what, get my son on this team when I'm on my way out. Nobody else will let him do that on any other team.
You think...
I know.
He wants his son to play.
No, remember he said a long time ago he want to play with his son. This is the only place he can play with his son.
Absolutely. Once again, LeVar Ball is a three-dimensional thinker. I don't care about where people went to college or grad school or anything of that nature. He's a three-dimensional thinker with a ruling class mentality. Is he right all the time? No. But he thinks like a lion. And that's why the mainstream media spends so much time trying to break him down. It's very clear that LeBron James wants his son to play with him on the Lakers. That's another reason why this has to work, because there's going to be an exchange of the baton from LeBron to Bronny Jr. sometime in 2022 or 2023. Somewhere in that area. Whenever Bronny Jr. is eligible to attempt to come into the NBA, they're going to try to become the basketball version of the Griffeys, Ken Griffey Sr. and Ken Griffey Jr. That's what LeBron James is trying and hoping for. And that will be the quintessential manifestation of LeBron James's self-worship. There'll be some huge ceremony, big ritual in LeBron James's last game as a Laker where he cries with his son, and there'll be a bunch of photographers around them, surrounding them, photographing them, taking photos, pictures, etc. And LeBron will say, the league is yours now, Bronny Jr. Remember, we have never seen an athlete. I don't think that we've ever seen a great athlete in the history of major American professional sports who is anywhere near as self-absorbed as LeBron James. And we've seen a lot of narcissists, but he is number one. I think that he's above Lance Armstrong. Once again, that is why I call him LeBron Armstrong. I think that just like Lance, he's very interested in making sure that the public has a certain image of him. In the case of LeBron, he's a quote-unquote woke super liberal who supposedly is fighting for his race, when in reality he's fighting for liberalism, that being homosexuality, lesbianism, feminism, etc. He just acts like he's quote-unquote pro-black because that's part of his branding. But I think that we'll see near the end, just like Lance Armstrong, that eventually he's going to get exposed for being the charlatan that he is.
But you got to put your time in first where you say, hey, my son's going to be good enough to be on the squad. Come on, let's go.
That's fascinating.
I'm telling you. I look at him.
That's the long game,
That's
right?
It's a long game. I mean, where else can he go? You're not going to be an NBA team and say, yo, let me get LeBron on the end of his career and you're going to have Poole now? You don't have that type of Poole. But you go for 4 or 5 years with the Lakers or whatever, and you got that Poole now. You say, you know what? I think my son, he plays right here, Syria Canyon. Let's go watch it.
I'm on Pat.
Absolutely.
On myself.
Yeah,
Gave me something to think about.
Yeah, say that, man. Okay, but in face, at least in title, Jeannie Buss runs this organization. Do you trust Jeannie Buss to get this organization back on course?
I don't know how she's going to get it back on course. She might not. But I'm not going to throw my trust into that. Yeah, I throw my trust in if she go get my other 2 boys, then I'll trust her to the end.
Once again, LeVar Ball thinks like a businessman. He does not think like a consumer. He thinks like a producer. That's why he tried to start his own league. Of course, the NBA recognized what he was doing, and they quickly amended many of the practices of their own developmental league so that they could bump him out of the equation. Unfortunately for LeVar Ball, most so-called black people do not think how he does. They don't think with a ruling class mentality. They don't think like lions. They think like lambs. So he's going to be left out there on the branch by himself. He's going to make decisions that are going to blow up in his face. That's what happens to risk takers. That's a part of life. But at the end of the day, just to get back to the question that was asked to him, should he trust Jeannie Buss? Of course not. What has she done to be trusted? In order for you to be trusted, you have to build up equity. She's done nothing, and I do believe that eventually many of the members of the mainstream media are going to be forced to make many incisive observations about Jeannie Buss. And in the process of doing that, they're going to risk going against the overall promote female superiority agenda themselves. So we'll see what happens with that.
So this morning you said she was too sensitive.
Well, she is sensitive. All women are sensitive.
Now, brothers, did you hear that? LeVar Ball stated something that we all know to be true, but he stated it in a way that encompassed the entire gender. And he's not supposed to do that. Males, period, are not supposed to do that on television, because television is a way to program the people. That's why every show that we watch is called a program. That's how they enter into your subconscious mind. So we're supposed to believe that every single woman is different from every other woman. And to a degree that is the case on an attribute level. But from a basic nature perspective, women have a nature. And it's important that we go back to understanding that and embracing that, because that stops men from subjecting themselves to a lot of unnecessary nonsense over the course of their lives. We all know that women in their essential nature are emotional. They will tell you that themselves. So the fact that LeVar Ball stated this is not that what he said was incorrect, is that there's a blacklist that's made for people who make statements like that. That's why Jamel Hill said that hopefully ESPN will stop putting him on their airwaves, because she's upset with him being a black man who speaks authoritatively. The liberal black woman in her racialist altar tries to act as if she cares about black men. Liberal black females do not care about the so-called black man at all. They only speak about racial issues because they know that that is what will garner attention for them. Because most people do not want to hear about the quote-unquote plight of the modern-day black female. Because most of these other demographics know that the black woman has a bevy of government programs that have been set up for her to survive. So no one wants to hear the black woman complain about race or racism. They know that the so-called black man is getting a boot up his ass in this society. So they take racism towards the black man far more seriously than they do, quote unquote, racism towards black women. So what liberal black women do is they try to talk about race so that they can get attention for themselves. And it's almost always going to involve them talking about the black man's experience. So Jemele Hill speaks about those type of things, but she hates strong-minded black men. I promise you that. Unless she can get them to capitulate in some way, she hates them. But just getting back to LaVar Ball, he said something in a way that would only manifest itself or bring that energy to the forefront if you know that as a man, you're making your own money your own way. And that's what we all should be striving for.
No. Tough. They tough. They got some women that's tough, but they still got that sensitive side.
Men aren't sensitive?
Yeah. Cry, LaVar, stop.
Last time I cried, I was 7 years old.
Now, you see what Marcellus Wiley and Jason Whitlock just did there? They said men aren't sensitive. Now, we know that there are men who are sensitive, but we've all known growing up as a child, if you had a father, your father would tell you, boy, stop crying or I'm going to give you something to cry about. Here's your problems. Handle your problems. You crying is not going to solve your problems. That's how those of us who have fathers were raised. And we all know that because Marcellus Wiley and Jason Whitlock were raised by fathers. So they know exactly what LaVar Ball is saying. But they had to jump in and attack LaVar because they're in corporate America. And if they don't say anything to LaVar Ball, they're going to be called into an office and asked, how come you let this guy just say what he said without you trying to counter it?
Some sensitive men out here.
Well, I'm not one of them.
I got it.
Yeah, I'm just not like that. My boys ain't like that either. Because I bred them like this.
I cried 5 times on Bohemian Rhapsody. I'm going to let that slide. What's the current status of what you're wearing right now, Triple B?
Oh, my goodness. Lonzo Ball, please get your father to a dentist as soon as possible. This brother LaVar Ball looked like he was in the coffee drinking Olympics and won the gold medal. I mean, goddamn.
Go to the website. You know me. I support. We under construction.
Yes,
What's up?
That's what it is. Under construction. We coming back bigger and better.
We can't have a beta site up on so we can still order?
Take your time. I want to do something else different. We coming with a whole different brand, a whole different side. Hey, the G3s, baby.
G3s?
Don't tell me I'm stopping. The only person who can stop the Big Baller brand is me, not the
G3s, a.k.a. the Nike Air Force Nuns. Oh, my goodness, the Air Force Nuns.
Not to say RIP, Big Baller brand. I'm the only one. If I don't want to sell no more and do nothing else, that's when the Big Baller brand.
But Lonzo takes the tattoo off. All the reports out there. They're only reporting what's out there.
About the tattoo. The tattoo got to come off anyway. You can't play. It's better to have it off than with a sticker on you.
For the bandage?
For the bandage on there. I mean, NBA rules. You're not even hurt.
So no major issues, no shutdown of Triple B.
But how? No, it's definitely not. It's a family brand. Families don't break up. Now, in this business right here, everybody is supposed to be. This is part of the process. We got to be split up. Me and Lonzo got to be split up.
Absolutely. In other words, LaVar Ball is stating that he knows that in order for Lonzo Ball to really blow up, the media has to separate him from his father. And that's what they've been trying to do for the last 2 years. Because once again, they're promoting the divine feminine and the divine child. You understand that? That's why for men today, in order for you to get to a certain level of fame, per se, at least public fame, or the public perception of what fame is, you have to embrace Luciferian principles. Not only do you have to be quote-unquote open-minded, meaning you have to accept that a woman is quote-unquote equal to you, really superior to you. You also have to get in touch with your feminine side. If at all possible, embrace pansexuality. LaVar Ball understands all of that. He knows that the program is that the media wants Lonzo to forsake him. And I promise you that if Lonzo ever truly forsook his father LaVar, the media would blow him up so much. You would hear about Lonzo signing $100 million contracts with Nike or Adidas the very next day. Remember, when he first came against the Triple B issue involving his father and his father's partner, the media was saying, good, Lonzo is finally starting to grow up. He's finally starting to, quote unquote, become his own man. But when it came to Kevin Durant, I've yet to see one reporter state that Kevin Durant is becoming his own man or should become his own man by no longer publicly associating with his mother. Isn't that interesting? And we saw Kevin Durant's mother literally grab his face when they won the world championship in 2017 like he was a little boy. And she did it on purpose on camera to show that she is his handler. She's his master. That he is a manifestation of her. That she is his God, quote unquote. And there are many low-level thinking Negroes today who believe that the quote unquote black woman is God. And once again, that is why our people are at the very bottom. But just getting back to the point, Lavar is very astute. He's far more intelligent than he gets credit for.
But it ain't gonna happen because we ain't built that way. Everybody else, when it comes to money and all that, Kobe and his parents over there, KD, his mom over there, everybody breaking up. But that's part of this goddamn recipe when you make it on this level. But they ain't gonna break up the Ball family. We too good.
Absolutely. Once again, he's stating that that is part of the recipe when you make it on this level, that you have to break up with your parents, especially if you have a strong father figure.
Love that. Let me circle back. I just want to give you an opportunity. People, when you say Jeannie Buss too sensitive, people will hear that as sexist.
No, I'm not saying too sensitive.
See, the reason why Whitlock is saying this is because he believes in his mind that he's saving LeVar Ball from himself. He's trying to give LeVar Ball an opportunity to explain his statements and maybe reel them back. LeVar is not going to do that because he does not care about the quote-unquote shrapnel of criticism, as Stephen A. Smith would say. He doesn't care. So he does not view that as you trying to save him. He views that as you trying to get him to conform to the same bullshit paradigm that many other cats in the corporate world have to conform to. Once again, Whitlock is a very intelligent cat. He knows better. He knows that women have a nature. But he's trying in his mind to save LeVar Ball. LeVar Ball does not need to be saved.
Too sensitive. She is sensitive. All women are sensitive. That's not a big. That's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing, though.
As insensitive.
That's not a bad. That's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
In other words, LeVar Ball's trying to help Jason understand. He's not insulting Jeannie Buss by calling her sensitive. It's like if you have a daughter or a wife and your wife is dainty, meaning she does not want to get involved in overly masculine things. Like you have women who don't want to play basketball or who don't want to, run around telling men what to do. That's not a bad thing to call them dainty or to call them feminine. But in this society today, we're being programmed to believe that certain attributes that are intrinsic within the woman are a bad thing if we associate those attributes or characteristics with the woman.
It's like it's different. That's why they always say somebody got to be the bad guy. They never be like, that got to be the bad woman. The bad guy, he basically ain't got no feelings for nothing. He's just...
Absolutely. Just like you'll hear that term, he's the big man on campus. They never say this is the big woman on campus. But once again, brothers, this is why I make these videos. Because a lot of people are under mental conditioning and don't even know it. Whenever you hear someone say that they're quote-unquote open-minded, what that basically means is, or what that entails, is that they have conformed to certain tenets of Luciferianism, or what they call liberalism. Pro-blacks almost uniformly tend to be extremely liberal, unfortunately for them. And when I say pro-blacks, I put that in quotes because they're not really for their people. They're really for Luciferianism, i.e. globalism and confusion. Now you have actual people that are for their people who are actually quote-unquote pro-black. Right? There's fake pro-black and then there's actual pro-black. And even that in and of itself is not where we need to go, because there's no such race as black. There's no such culture as black. But that's a far more detailed aspect of the conversation. At the end of the day, Marcellus Wiley and Jason Whitlock are trying to help LeVar Ball with something that he does not need help with. Unfortunately for them, they have a boss that they have to report to. He has no boss to report to.
Cutthroat. She's one of the only ladies who's running a team. That's special in itself. But I'm just saying is,
let me wind this back a little bit.
That's not a bad thing. Yeah. It's like it's different. That's why they always say somebody got to be the bad guy. They never be like, that got to be the bad woman. The bad guy, he basically ain't got no feelings for nothing. He's just cutthroat. She's one of the only ladies who's running a team. That's special in itself. But I'm just saying is, you're gonna have those feelings where sometimes when you come in with somebody, you don't look at it as aspects, say, okay, is he doing his job, this and that. It's just like, oh, we here together. I owe you something. I want to be, you're my guy.
Is this proper to paraphrase? She makes emotional decisions.
Well, yeah,
to get their way.
Definitely.
Definitely.
Yes.
Here would be my problem. All right, where I think we need to be careful. Because
well, when people try to make it on the spot where they say it's sexist, I'm not trying to be sexist because I love women.
I get what you're saying. But
Yeah.
I see a lot.
And let me pause it here, because every once in a while I get one of these chicks in my comment section. Oh, I love your channel. I love your insight, your knowledge, your this, your that. I even love your voice. But it seems like you have an issue with women. I say this over and over again. I'm probably going to do a video pertaining to this topic. My channel is a pro-truth channel geared towards the so-called black man, because the black man is the head. I have to tell the so-called black man the truth. I can't tell him what he wants to hear or what you want him to hear. Because, just to be real about it, most liberal women, or let me rephrase this. The vast majority of so-called black women are liberal, which is just code for Luciferian. So therefore, a lot of you are dealing with a bevy of mental, psychological, and spiritual issues that you're not even aware of. A lot of you have demons within you that you're not even aware of. So I have to start from the head. I can't address you. And besides that, the essential dynamic between the man and the woman is as husband and wife, or consort, or helpmeet, whatever you want to call it, that dynamic. So I'm not going to spend time talking to a woman or women on my channel if I'm not getting nothing from them. Just to keep it 100 with you, if I ain't getting no ass from you, I'm not talking to you. I'm not going to invest any time, because that's your husband's job. A lot of females out here are with duds, low-level dudes, and they're on the internet looking for insight from men that have wisdom, because they want to, they want to have their cake and eat it too. They want to be with someone who's not going to be a mental threat, but still receive that sensation, that energy from a man that has wisdom. And you can't have it both ways. At the end of the day, you are going to have to bow down to men of wisdom. You are going to have to conform to the dictates of men of wisdom. And that means that we have to change the paradigm of what type of man these women understand they should be with. And we can't do that unless we go to the men first. You understand? But once again, if I'm not getting nothing from you, I'm not highlighting no commentary towards you. For what? That's your husband's job. Your husband has to cater certain things to you to help you out, make you feel better about yourself. But brothers, if your woman has low self-esteem, you probably shouldn't even really be with her. You have to be with a woman who understands and loves herself, and therefore can love you. A woman that cannot love herself cannot love you. And the way that the woman loves herself is by understanding her role. When they don't understand their role, they're not going to be able to love themselves, because they're going to be too busy trying to compete with you. They're going to spend too much time paying attention to what the television is telling them as opposed to what their man is telling them. But once again, that's a whole other video.
Athletes, and I see a lot of people, like, just off the top of my head, I can remember Phil Jackson used the word posse. And the next thing I know, LeBron and his group were, oh my God, that's insensitive, and that's racist, blah, blah. And I go, man, y'all too sensitive. And so,
right, but that right there, Whitlock, illustrates his point. Because when LeBron James responded or reacted in that way, you reacted by saying y'all too sensitive. Now, if someone had said something about a woman and she responded emotionally, you would not have said you're too sensitive. You'd have tried to understand her, because you know that essentially and intrinsically the woman is emotional. You understand that. So you're making this point for him. At the end of the day, he made a statement about a demographic, and you're trying to respond with singular examples. Of course, there are singular men that are emotional or are sensitive per se. That's something that no one would deny. And he never said that there were not singular men who were emotional. What he said was that part of the DNA or the characteristics of the woman is that she's emotional, and there's nothing wrong with that.
I see it from men as well, and I see a lot of emotional overreaction. I think that, like, Russell Westbrook has no control of his emotions. And
well, Russell Westbrook, I'm not even quite sure if he has emotional issues. I think he has psychological issues. That's what I think about Russell Westbrook.
Affects his play on the court, affects his interaction with fans, everything. And so I just don't see it as a female issue. I see it as a human issue.
Well, yeah, you can say you see it as a human issue, but everybody got their own opinion. It's not bad about it. I'm just saying.
How about Magic's emotional? The dude just quit on the spot.
And didn't tell
I mean, if you're doing something, do you really have to?
Well, Magic is emotional, but Magic is a spoiled brat. Magic is really frustrated because he wishes that Dr. Jerry Buss was still alive so that he could run into Dr. Jerry Buss's office and say, Jeannie's not treating me right. Because Jerry Buss treated Magic like a son. Magic got frustrated at Jeannie Buss. That's why he calls her his sister. The reason why he called her his sister is because he views Jerry Buss as another father figure. He wishes that Jerry Buss was still alive so that his spoiled brat ass could run in Jerry Buss's office and tattletale. He couldn't do that, so he quit. So Magic is more spoiled than anything else. He's just too accustomed to people being charmed by him. And the Lakers cannot get turned around as a franchise through Magic's charm. There has to be a lot more than that.
Everybody, if you're going to do it on your own.
You got to tell your boss.
Why?
You got to be man enough.
Well, that's not even man enough. It's like, you know what, if I want to quit, I'm going to quit. I'm going to tell you the same thing. Just like when they was talking about my son and I took him out of UCLA. They said, you didn't tell nobody. I didn't have to tell nobody. I can do what I want. That's the same thing with Magic. He don't have to go back and be like, you know what? Let me tell everybody I'm going to quit before. I just quit when I want to quit. If it's up to him, though. That's how he felt about it, so leave him alone.
And that's basically what Magic said. Now, do I agree with that? No, not really. Because I do think that you owe it to your quote-unquote boss to let them know that you're leaving. But there's a reason why Magic did what he did in the way that he did it. It was to show Jeannie Buss that I was here to do you a favor, and I read some of those emails, and you were shitting on me. So in the same way that you disrespected me, I'm going to have to disrespect you, and I'm going to have to blow this up publicly so that everyone can see that I was disrespected. See, Magic, he lives through the image of who he is as opposed to the real person. He's accustomed to walking down the street and everyone to shake his hand and take photographs with him and give him a hug and so on and so forth. It's been that way for 40 years. So Magic's attitude is, who the hell is Jeannie Buss and Rob Pelinka? Who are they to disrespect the Magic Man in any way, shape, or form? Despite what Magic says, and I say this all the time, you know, people come on my channel in the comment section, oh, Shaquille O'Neal said Kobe Bryant's better than him. Magic said Kobe Bryant better. Neither one of them dudes believe that. But they're both very similar. They're both corporate whores. So Shaq and Magic Johnson have mastered the art of talking bullshit. Magic Johnson does not believe that anybody's better than him, ever. He don't believe that Jordan's better than him. But he knows that part of his brand is being magnanimous, so that's what he is on the outside. But behind closed doors, Magic is like, man, please. In my prime in 1987, I'd have whooped Jordan ass. No doubt about it. So that's why he did what he did. But do I believe that he should have done that in that way? No, but I understand why he did it, because he was getting played. Magic, for the first time, had the black male experience in corporate America.
Would call that irresponsible.
Why is it irresponsible?
Emotional. Again, it's not.
But how is it? Here it is. If a certain way that you feel, nobody else can tell you how you feel. You see what I'm saying? So, like I said.
Well, brother, I have to stop you there because you basically told Shannon Sharp the opposite thing. You told Shannon Sharp that you could tell your sons how to feel, and I agreed with you there. I think that the better response is that Magic felt disrespected, so he just left. And let's just keep it at that.
You can say what the weather's going to be like tomorrow. You can tell if it's going to be an earthquake. You never know what's going on in somebody's mind.
I agree with that.
And for the reasons they do things, just like that, you'd be like, man, I didn't know he was going to do that. And that's why it shocks everybody, like, whoa, what happened? That's because nobody knows what's really going on in somebody's mind.
Going forward, just last quick one. Is Lonzo the Lakers the right fit for Lonzo? You foresee him being on this squad?
Obviously, brothers, this interview took place before Lonzo Ball was traded.
Or his name is in the trade conversation.
Yeah, but you got that's part of LA. You gotta be in the trades for keep people's ears perked up to see what's going on. Okay, Lonzo, like I said, the only issue I had with Lonzo was if you do not have the right leader, you can't do nothing. If you don't believe in my son, be like, you know what? Everybody who coaches him believes in him like that. I told y'all Luke didn't believe in him like that. So guess what? The new coach, everybody's asking me now, what do you think, Lavar? I don't know. But everybody can be nice on the first date. But he said one thing that I did like is, hey, I like Lonzo Ball. He could have easily said, you know, most coaches come in and they want to say, you know what, I've been in the league. Let me talk about a veteran first. So I'll say, oh, I'm glad Rondo's here to mentor Lonzo.
Well, it's very obvious that the reason why Vogel was saying that he likes Lonzo Ball is because he's a company man. It doesn't mean that he actually likes him. But to be quite honest with you, I'm surprised that Lonzo lasted as long as he did, because I said for a very long time that in order for LeBron James to become a member of the Lakers, Lonzo Ball was going to have to go. There cannot be any storylines on the Lakers that do not revolve around LeBron James. We have to understand that back in the 2017-2018 season, the Lonzo Ball storyline was just as big, if not bigger, than some of the LeBron James narratives while he was still in Cleveland. LeBron cannot tolerate any competition. That's why it took him so long to allow Lonzo Ball on his show, The Shop. LeBron's like a female. He always has to be the center of attention. Always.
This dude's just straight out. Now I like what Lonzo Ball does. So that's a good spot on me. I like that who coming in with a good attitude.
You're looking good, man.
Thank you, man. I'm good. I ain't lost a lot of weight. I'm just straight line and fine.
Well, your shirt too baggy.
No, my shirt ain't never too baggy.
Coming up.
If LeVar lost some weight, that's a good thing. Now he just need to take his ass to the dentist. Because, whew, that's a smile only a mother could love. Goddamn. But anyway, that is the end of Volume 2 of Are Men and Women Equal? And once again, brothers, we have to be honest with ourselves about things. And therefore, we can be honest with others about things. It starts with ourselves. And there's nothing wrong with a woman having certain character traits. There's nothing wrong with that at all, as long as they don't get out of control. We know that the woman by nature is emotional, but as long as it doesn't go overboard, it's okay. Let's stop trying to make men and women equivalent. But once again, I'll be covering that in another video. The use of this term equality and how they're using it to oppress people and stop them from understanding what they're seeing with their own eyes. But anyway, peace.